Dude, so that intro is the perfect intro for today's show.
You know, I was gonna say, Kong ain't got nothing on us.
Right, exactly.
We got to come up with something. Uh oh.
Yeah, I don't
Sandy,
know.
I hear you.
I
That's
don't
right.
Oh, my bad.
Repeat that again.
So what I'm gonna say, what up, guest? Am I hired or what?
We've got someone who knows what they're doing. If that's any indication of it, we can't have someone like this come on and then us or the Hamill brothers come on and us not have a banging intro, right?
Right, exactly.
I
That's kind of
mean,
how I see it.
I mean,
Oh my goodness.
how are you,
Um,
kids?
okay, so let me tell you about my day. Sandy kind of knows about it because I called her earlier, and even Carrie knows about it. But guys, I got uber emotional today, out of control emotional. Like I went to go get my wife some Culver's, which is kind of like a burger joint up here. Went to Culver's to go get her something. Well, they have the regular line, and you know how a lot of places like McDonald's and Chick-fil-A they have the double line, or yeah, two drive-throughs.
Yes.
Okay, Culver's has a
Mhm.
second drive-through where they put someone who sits outside of a porta potty looking thing, and they take your order. The problem is I'm like, why is he out there? What is going on? So I get up there and I'm like, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be out here. And I'm reaching for this plastic bag and I'm like, let me get, and he's like, what can I get you to order? I was like, man, why are you out here? It's so cold. Go back inside. And he's like, I can't. It's okay, man. It's all right. And I was like, my wife wanted me to get her a vegan meal. Can you give me that? And then I'm like, look, just take here. Here's a warmer, not a hand warmer, but a bigger one. I was like, go put that on you and keep warm. And he's like, no, it's okay, man. I'm okay. I volunteered for this. I don't care. And I was like, here, you want to? I was like, you want the whole bag? And he was like, no, it's fine. It's okay. And I was like, all right, but man, please just get warm or something. And he goes, just park over there. You'll be fine. I was like, okay. So I go over there and then I start crying like crazy. I am bawling my eyes
Aw.
out. I was like, I can't believe this. And I called my wife, I called Sandy, and I called Carrie. I was like, and my wife was like, why is this making you sad? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just guys, it was 34 degrees up here, but the wind chill was 24 degrees. And it felt it. I
Oh
walked out of the
wow.
house and immediately and I said, oh my gosh, we're below 30. I think it's like 10 or 20 degrees right now. I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, overcome with emotion. I felt really bad that the guy had to stand out there for freaking taking orders in the blistering cold. And I think the only thing I could do was give him hand warmers, giant hand warmers, and cry it out in the car for whatever silly reason. So don't judge me bad, but I'm just letting you know it wasn't a bad day, but it was just like he didn't share a story with me. I just absolutely felt bad that he had to be out there in 20 freaking degree weather taking my order or anyone's order. So I was just like, ah. So
And
say
I
the
did
prayer for
not.
that
And
guy.
when you called me, I failed to tell you you're the reason he was out there for people like you.
Well,
So
I
you're to
know.
blame.
I thought if I didn't go out, and I've never seen him out there. I don't go to Culver's often. My wife was like, "Go get something for me." Anyway, it was really bad. Anyhow, but I did get to watch our guest film today, like I'm sure all of us did, right? And
Yes.
man, we'll get to it later. We'll get to it later. Good though. Good. Joe, how was your day?
Oh, let me unmute my mic here. Because I was talking to the jet and I'm like, hey, are we? Because I'm getting some lags and I'm just like, ugh. I just want to make sure that that it wasn't me, but I think we're good now. It's gone away. So,
Okay.
my day, I woke up at my normal time now. That whole early getting up in the morning stuff, I'm done with that. I'm done.
You had one day of
That
it.
lasted 2 seconds.
It lasted 3 days, and I'm good with that. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't have to. I'm just gonna chill. So yeah, I did have two McRibs today. Let me tell you,
Oh,
I
how
am
was
a
that?
Mc. I love the McRib. I know that it's mystery meat, and everyone says you shouldn't eat it, but I don't care. I love it. So I'm all for the McRib being back, and so I just want to put that out there. And then I just want to put that out there.
It's a good sandwich. No joke.
Yeah,
It's a good sandwich.
Yeah, and also I still don't have my computer back, and I'm really, really peeved about it right now. So
Ooh, I feel like
Are
someone's
we
fingers
like
are
on
getting
day
ready for.
68?
yes, might as well be. Might as well be. And then people are like, "Hey, have you got your computer back?" No, because I'm trying. There's certain edits that I want to do on my big computer that I'm waiting to do, and and they're like, "Hey, do you have anything for me?" I'm like, "No, my computer's still broke.
Yeah.
Please be patient."
You need to put an update daily
Yeah,
on your Big Sur.
yeah, yeah. Tim,
Your big
the
sur-
McRib. I'm telling you, it's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Okay, so do you just eat? I have to put a little bit of honey mustard on mine. McDonald's honey mustard. Only
No.
thing I eat honey mustard with is their barbecue sauce. Is their barbecue McRib.
Nope. No. In fact, I tell them to take the pickles off because pickles are nasty. What?
You're nasty, cochina.
Right.
Pickles.
Pickles feel the same way about you.
Yo te
Joe.
voy a dar tu pickle nasty.
Oh, nasty pickles.
Now he's going to pull out a pickle and crunch during the show.
Right,
I
exactly.
should have told the kids to bring me one. Even if you're watching, go give me a pickle and bring it to me. I know you're watching.
No.
Sandy, how's your day?
I don't want to talk about my day. I want you to talk about the guy that traded his Camaro, his 2020 Camaro, for a
No, not
Mitsubishi
Camaro.
Outlander.
Not
That's how I
Camaro.
roll.
Corvette. No.
It was a Corvette.
Corvette.
Yes.
Hold on, let me pull it up. What was that on again? Because
I mean, because
I think he's
that
on
was on
Facebook.
Facebook Messenger.
Okay. I'm going.
Like, this
I'm going.
has really troubled me. I have so many questions, and I did not get a response to my question.
I can't pull it up.
He traded in 3 things, right? He traded in 3 things for a Mitsubishi.
Oh, they deleted
What, did
it.
it get removed?
Yeah.
I mean, the post went viral. The post went viral, you guys.
It was just like,
I
everyone was
am
like,
so
and did you
upset.
see his face though? That was not a happy face. Everyone was like, that's not the face of someone that's happy about trading in their
No.
Corvette.
I'm gonna see if I can share
This
the little.
guy was not
clip I
happy.
have.
I want to say that his wife made him do it. What was his name? Tim? I can't remember what his name was, but his
I
wife
can't
Tommy.
made him take that Corvette back to the
Tommy.
dealership. He just got
Tommy.
it the day before. Tommy.
Yeah.
Oh my
I didn't
gosh.
get to read
Tommy,
the
if you're
whole
out there,
story.
we want to talk to you.
He traded in
Do
his
what?
Corvette, his house, his kids, his Harley, 20,000,
PS5.
and his PS5.
That was Jamie who made that up.
That was funny though.
I thought that was a post in there too. So, yeah, you guys though, it's a beautiful blue, neon blue looking Corvette. It's really gorgeous. And then he's got his Outlander of all, right. Anyway, and then there he is. He is just as miserable, as miserable as can be. Poor guy.
I'm gonna
Hey,
have
I
to,
can't
we're
even
gonna
share a
have to
little bit
find
of
their
it.
screenshots out there.
I could,
Yeah.
but it's going to take too much time. But I can't let anyone see all of our rest of our message in there. I don't think the assistant would like. Yeah. Anyway.
That's crazy. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
That's a 280-mile walk waiting to happen.
Yes.
Associated
Mommy,
feuds
go
got
walk.
to happen.
Yeah, I would be.
Oh, no.
I would really be upset if I had to do that.
What is Sean's laughing?
I was
here at this
upset.
guy?
And I'm like,
Could you
oh
not
my
edit on a
gosh.
larger screen, Joe? Like an HDMI to TV or larger display? I've
So
told them, Jacob.
no. So my color is perfect on my iMac, and that's why I like doing it on my iMac. And so I do have a bigger screen that I could put it to, but the color is not accurate. So yeah, that's
You
it.
see me back here, guys?
I know. Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Jamie.
What's up, Joe?
Who do we have on the show today?
Guys, I am pretty excited to announce, like, getting all giddy about it. We've got a very special guest tonight Jacob and, what's his brother's name, Joe?
Ross.
Ross, the Hamill brothers came on last season, and we got to interview them, and it was great. And we were all three, and all of you, we were all hyped up to talk with them because they shared a lot. They told us about a movie that they were doing called Alone, and it was funny because I think it was Jacob who mentioned, he's like, it's on some sci-fi channel on YouTube, and I was like, wait a minute, is it Dust? And he was like, yeah, that's it. And he's like, this movie's coming out later this year. And I was like, I love the Dust movies. Those are really great. He goes, William Hellmuth, who's our guest tonight, is the guy who directed it. He was like, maybe we can help him get on the show. So after some months, the film released last week, and guys,
December 3rd.
I'm sorry, the week before last week, right?
No, last week. Yeah, December 3rd last week.
Okay. Correcting when you weren't even wrong in the first place. It's the weirdest thing in the world. So,
I wasn't correcting. I was adding.
and so let me tell you, the man. We watched his film, and we all three were like, "This is amazing." So I hope you had a chance to watch it before you're coming on tonight, because if not, you're going to hear a lot of questions and a lot of background on stuff. Hopefully it'll make sense to you still, but it'll make more sense once you watch it. Okay, so without further ado, Joe, would you start clearing off all the brand? Actually, it takes too long for me to do all that.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know.
Thank you for not asking me to do it.
Sorry. So anyway, the movie's great, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. Go to YouTube. We'll say it later on. Go to YouTube. Put in Alone Dust, and it'll bring up the film that we're talking about. Okay. So without further ado, help me welcome William Hellmuth.
Hey!
Bravo, sir. Bravo. Thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah. Of
Hi,
course.
William.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to put him up here at the top. Right
And
there.
I'm going to put our names back.
Okay.
Cool.
William, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I'm really excited to have you here, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So normally when we have a guest on, William, we do this thing where we like to ask them a couple questions to kind of get things rolling. I told Joe and Sandy, I was like, we can't do that. Here's what we got to do, because I'm not going to be able to contain it and wait for you to say all your stuff first. So what I want to do is go around the room, starting with Mr. Bazooka Joe over there, and then we'll move to Sandy and myself. We just kind of want to share what we got out of your film from just each of our own points, and then just let you have some praise and some good stuff right now, man. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, we're going to start with me?
Yes.
Cool.
You didn't hear anything we just said.
Well, yeah, you breaking in and out. It's weird. So, but anyways, yeah. So, anyways, well, I was watching this and I was like, I don't know. I've watched a couple of Dust shows, and they're kind of, some of them a little quirky, a little out there. So, I'm not really sure what to expect. And then I start watching it, and I'm like, wow, this actress is really good. And I know she's like by herself, and she's trying to do this whole thing, and it's just, I love the whole premise to it, and it just goes to show that you don't need a whole bunch of actors to make an excellent movie or an excellent film. So I was really blown away, and the ending, the twist at the end, I was like, that's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So I loved it, and I've actually watched it twice already because I was wanting to make sure that I had some more information and to ask and all that stuff. But I enjoyed it all the way through. I'm even telling my kids and my family to watch it. It's like, y'all need to look it up now.
Thanks.
What about you, Sandy?
Okay, so William, a little bit about me. I only watch 3 things, and that's murder, mystery, and murder. And so Jamie's like, you have to watch this because this guy's coming on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch it. And so at first I kind of really wasn't into it, and then I'm like wanting another. I'm asking Jamie, is there like another part 2? Is there something else that I need to be watching? Because this was so good. I was ready for them to be in love, and then you throw this thing at me, and I'm like, what? Like, what just happened? Like, I need some more. I need closure. Can you do that for me?
I'm with you on that, Sandy. I do need closure too, so I'm hoping William could help us out with that. But, for me, William, in addition to everything that they've said already, I got to tell you, one of the things I absolutely loved about this film was the sound. The sound was superb, man. For such a short film, I loved when I had to rewind it, and I was like, man, those boosters going off when she's going into the wormhole. It was like, wow, it is above par. I was like, he really kicked it up here. The music, the ominous music, man, the score was gorgeous. Like, it was so, you could feel the depth. You could feel the pull of how bad of a situation she was in. The music just made it more like it added that extra layer on top of the cake, man. The sandstorm, the ship messing like all the sound. Like I tell you, when I watch movies, I love listening for the score. I love listening to the sound, and I can sit there and I'm like, man, this just really brings you in. Like I always think about like, what is the sound? What is the music making me feel? Is it making me feel something? And in your film, it totally blew me away, man. Like it gives me chills thinking about it now because I'm just like,
Awesome.
man, if you guys, if watch the film and if you didn't pay attention to the sound of the score, or the music, anything beforehand, pay attention to it specifically for that. Put some earphones on or headphones on. It is out of this world great. So again, with everything else, the acting and the location, wherever you got all this stuff, and it was all great. But thank you for putting some extra effort into the sound, man. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Well, Jacob is telling us who is responsible for the sound. Chris Hartwell and his sound team at the P&W, and then also the composer,
Yeah.
Michael Vignola.
Vignola, yeah. Vignola did the sound, he was the composer. And the sound mix was actually by Chris Hartwell's brother, Stephen Hartwell, in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
And we actually had two guys on sound. Chris Moore, who did the sound design, and he lives down here in LA. And he, all of the sounds you hear, the, groaning of the escape pod, and the
hum
storm,
of the
all that stuff.
Yeah.
The engines, that's all him. He designed all of that and edited the dialogue. And then Stephen Hartwell mixed that all together to kind of, just make it all sing and sound great. So yeah. And then of course Mike with the score was like incredible. He was, we can chat more about all that later. But yeah, Mike was awesome to work with. I'm really glad to hear how much you enjoyed the sound and the music, because that's something I don't feel like I've gotten able to talk about as much.
Oh, really?
On other things, yeah. A lot of people kind of want to. I mean, because like a lot of people want to hear about the performances and the acting and stuff, which is great, and I'm really happy. Stephanie did a great, and Stephanie and Tom were amazing in those two roles.
I love the lighting too. So I'm a photographer. So I loved the lighting, and I loved how at the end you guys did that split lighting with their faces, and just kind of showed that they were in two different spaces or two different worlds at that time. So that was really cool. And then starting with the red, the color grading in the red, and then going into the blue, just to show that they were totally different worlds, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I directed it and was the cinematographer on it as well, and so there are a few choices I made in that shift from our world to theirs.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Cool. I'm glad you like that.
So there's so much I want to talk about here, but real quick before we get started, I do want to ask everyone in the comments, if you've got questions, if you saw it, you have questions about anything related to it, put them in the comments so we can read them off to William as we talk, and William will try to get those questions asked when they're close enough to what you're talking about, so that way we don't forget or whatever else. But I got to be honest, I'm gonna Joe, if Joe is, we're having some connection problems with Sandy, and she's gonna come back on in shortly.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it is when we're living right now.
Yeah.
But God, there's so many places I want to start. If it's okay, I do want to start in the sound then, if that's all right. Because I feel like you, when I see things related to movies, I always rush to get to the sound and the music piece first, because I do like that. I do love listening to music. Everyone loves listening to music. I do appreciate listening to scores and soundtracks and everything else. And so can you just tell me how, as a director, because I have zero knowledge.
Yeah, we have zero knowledge of all this.
So, as best as you can from your perspective, can you tell me what it is? Like, how do you go about working with sound when you're making a movie?
Sure.
When you're directing a movie?
It all starts with production. When you're actually shooting, it takes a lot of skill and expertise just to be able to record the voices of the actors well, in a way that's rich and all that kind of stuff. So for this film, I got in touch with a production sound mixer, David Cook, who I use just whenever I can. He's really great. We're friends. We struck up a friendship over the years. I'm a director of photography, which means I'm just in charge of, the lighting and camera and all that kind of stuff on
Nice.
set. And so he and I just, after, finding each other on the same sets a few times in a row, we got along, and then we just kind of recommend each other for shoots and get on each other's shoots. So when it came time to make my movie alone that I was directing, I called him up, because that's really huge. Like that's the foundation, like what you capture on set, everything in post-production is building off of that. So that's really where it starts. And people would think that capturing sound on set is as simple as,
Sticking a microphone over.
recording, sticking a microphone in front of the actor's face and getting a nice clean recording. But there's actually a lot that a good sound mixer will do to aid the storytelling with how he or she is recording the audio. And so David and I, we had discussions about that, about ways that we could accomplish this, and
Man,
it came out.
I love hearing you say that, because in the Grinch, when his heart gets super big at the end and it breaks the box that it's in or whatever, like, you just made my heart feel that way just now. And I say that I'm in no means comparing myself to those guys, but so at our church for many years, I would run our soundboard, and the way you talked about it, I'm like, that's yes. So it's not that I just need a person in front of a mic to just start singing in a mic. Like, I'm listening. I have closed my, I'm putting headphones. I'm on a board. I'm like taking out, your high notes. You're bringing up your low ones. The people who can sound. I'm like, I'm paying attention. And so when you're singing, it's not about that I just need your voice. Like, I want to hear certain people's voice and all that. So all the meticulous things to it, and I want it to be a show for your ears when you hear it. And so hearing you talk about it that way, it's like, man, thank you to hear that. Like, someone,
it's big.
I'm nowhere near their expert level, but hearing you say that about those guys, like, man.
But you get it though. You understand, and that's great. And that's like, So he was the first person I called, and that's really where it started. Was just, that on-set recording of that sound, and I'll tell you, we shot on Skid Row, in this little warehouse. And it was noisy. There was loud music everywhere, and we got into post, and we didn't have to do any ADR or any vocal voiceovers, re-recording, anything like that. We got everything clean and perfect on set, and that's that's worth a lot right there.
Right.
So and then when we got into post-production, when the edit was locked. That's when the sound design and the sound mix came into play. So the design was actually really interesting, because that was actually a friend of David Cook's, Chris, who I hadn't met before, but he thought, hey, my friend Chris might be interested in doing this. So I got in touch with Chris. I sent him the picture lock, the final cut of the film. And, none of the sound had been edited or anything like that, but he called me up after watching it and was like, I really want to do this. Like, this is great.
Wow.
and that's a lot of what I look for in crew for a small indie film like this. I mean, nobody's making any money.
Right.
So, if someone's going to help on it, it's not going to be because I convinced them to. It's going to be because they really wanted to. So sorry, now I'm getting a small bunny rabbit trail here. In pre-production, it was always, if I wasn't approaching someone to work on the film and kind of selling them with their prior relationship with me, like, my go-to gaffer and key grip and camera crew and all these people I had worked with on commercials a bunch, so they already knew me and there's a lot of rapport. It was always the script. It was, read the script, look at the script. Do you like it? Do you want to make this movie with me? And if the answer was no, and sometimes it was, okay, so that's cool. Like, let's move on. And then same in post-production with sound, send the cut of the film, and, do you want to make this? Do you want to design the sound for this? And if the answer was no, and I got a couple no's, then okay, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah, just
And I'm
move
gonna
on.
move on until I find someone who really resonates with that. And my philosophy is that I would approach it the same way if, this was a $10-20 million budget feature or something, and I could pay people, a lot. Like this is all. It's that, in my opinion, that philosophy never really changes. Everybody has. If you're gonna make something really meaningful, everybody's got to believe in it.
Right.
So Chris designed the sound, and like, oh man, he just really knocked it out of the ballpark. Like, he got so into it. Like, he and I would have a lot of discussions. As a director, I very rarely would come in and say like, oh, like at this time code I want this sound, and it's got to go like or whatever, like let's do these things. Like,
Yes.
we had a lot more sort of big picture discussions about the story and the characters and what was happening there. And then we talked about, like, he would bring up elements of, uh, sound that he wanted to highlight. Like, what does the black hole sound like?
Right.
Things like that, and then
Yeah.
I was really interested in, like, what does the inside of that pod sound like?
Right.
So we would kind of bounce back and forth. And
Yeah, because you kind of have to like create like almost an echo type feel with certain things going on and stuff like that. So yeah. You have to the sound has to make it feel small.
It does, yeah. And so I wanted to feel small and fragile, like it's like you're being pulled.
It could go
and
anytime.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so we really talked a lot about how to accomplish that, and then he would just kind of go and do it, and kind of he really would express himself as an artist. And then from there, I went to Steven, and Steven is a sound mixer based out of Seattle, who I've worked with for years now, really, just on smaller projects or actually some bigger ones too. And he's always just delivered like quality sound that, like, when it's exported and you sync it up with a movie, you can put it on a big TV with great speakers, and it sounds better the more you turn it up. Which is so unique for
right, yeah.
indie
It really does.
like you can actually you can crank it up like you do Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Yes.
So like he just nails the levels. And
yeah, it's not like where it's overpowering where you're like, it's like,
no.
oh my gosh. You're like,
yeah,
I'm there.
I've always
feeling
been
it.
like, whenever he's handling the sound, there's I've always had this confidence that like, well, it's gonna sound great when it's all done. Like, Steven's going to make sure that this is excellent.
Wow, the confidence of someone like that. That's speaks mountains for him.
So he was, from the very beginning, I just, he was the only one I really wanted mixing the sound for this. And he was actually really busy during this time.
Really?
When we were finishing up the film. So it took, it didn't take convincing necessarily, but we needed to just figure out a way for it to work. Like, he really wanted to do it, but his schedule was so full. We needed to find a time frame that would work for him, and we needed to rent some studio space so he could mix it. And that was it was a little bit of like, it was a little bit tricky. Yeah, we had to juggle and kind of figure it out. But I'm really grateful we did.
Me too.
And he also had a couple. Like, it was cool working with him too, because he wasn't just like hands off until it was time for him to mix the sound. He was really involved in the creative decisions with design as well. So like, he and Chris would kind of go back and forth with sound ideas, and that was really cool to watch. And as director, a lot for me was just trying to like kind of point them in a direction that I was thinking the story could go, but also recognizing that they're sound artists. And like, this is where they live, this is the world they're in.
Wow.
Right.
Kind of like empower them to express themselves in a way that they wanted.
So no micromanaging from you.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not. Have them on the show. And that's a philosophy. That's a philosophy I tried to carry through every aspect of production. Was that this is a collective work of a group of artists, and within this one film, you'll hopefully see my voice, my vision, and all that kind of stuff, my artistic expression. But beyond that, you're also going to see the expression of like each of these individual artists and little things that they put in here to say something. And I think that kind of gives the film some depth that maybe you don't think about or notice, but you feel, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I appreciate that, William. So before we keep going, though, I do want to address some of the comments in here, and then some of the questions. One question I have real quick for you is, how much of the production in its entirety does the sound take? What would you say in Alone? How much production, or how much percentage of the production does sound / music, anything acoustic?
Like time wise, or
yeah, like of the total time that you did to direct Alone, how much of that time, percentage wise, is dedicated for sound and audio? Can you quantify that?
It is a little bit difficult to quantify because it's pretty. I was trying to remember and think about it. I mean, it's pretty time consuming. But really, I think for all things sound, we were kind of in and out in a couple months, which is pretty fast considering everything, like the entirety of the time it took to make the film.
Nice.
Okay.
But I think that's about where we were for sound design. Mike composed the score in like record time because he's just crazy.
He's a workhorse when it comes to it. Huh? I got you. I got you.
Yeah. He's the type of guy who would send me like 2 or 3 drafts within like one musical like cue within the course of like 2 hours, and I'd be like, oh, okay,
wow.
Cool. I hadn't even sent notes back, and he'd be like, here's another idea.
He's like, wait a minute, let me send you this idea here.
Right,
I know you haven't said anything or even listened to it yet.
He goes, I let it marinate. All right, we got Mark over here. Mark is asking, very cool film. Was the story inspired by the COVID world we live in today? Let that slip, but that's okay.
That's all right. No, thank you, Mark. The answer is no. I discovered the film in.
It should have been like months, like almost last year, then, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
2 years.
Actually, the film was originally a short story in an anthology of shorts called Future Visions. You can actually, I think, you can buy it on Amazon. It's a great, really good collection of short stories, actually. And I was reading it. My friend Brian Walton and J. Scott Worthington, who also wrote Alone, they kind of co-published this anthology of shorts.
Yeah, he's actually in the comments. J. Scott Worthington is.
Jay's a great guy. So Jay wrote Alone, and I read that in the winter of 2018, and I think Future Visions was published earlier that same year. So, obviously you can do the math. Jay was writing this thing before that. So, like, it wasn't, right. It was very much, the story was just, what first appealed to me about it was, I mean, it's a story about the, like, human desire for connection,
right.
and that we'll find ways to reach out and connect with people no matter what.
Yeah.
And
even in an alternate universe.
Yeah. And that's not that's not the entirety of the film, but that's a strong element of it.
Right.
And that element of connectivity really, really appealed to me. And it was just it just so happened. We had no idea, even when we were shooting it. We shot in January 2020. Like it.
Oh, wow.
We had no idea that.
Right.
What was about to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By chance. So pretty wild.
Thank you, Jacob. So Jacob threw the soundtrack, which I'm going to go listen to tonight.
I mean, listen to it. I listen to it all the time. It's amazing.
I can't wait, actually. That's so cool. And it's in Spotify, so that double points for me.
Yep.
Joe, just another reason for you to get Spotify, okay?
I already have it. Thanks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There we go.
All right. Tim says, to be honest, we're glad.
That's a great compliment. That's a great comment.
I'll remember that, Tim. I remember that.
Wow,
Speaker,
brutal.
Okay? Joshua Mills, agree with Joe. The lighting and color grading is great. So I do have a question. Most of us have no idea how much work goes into even a short like Alone. Mm-hmm. Roughly, how long did it take start to finish to make?
That's a great question. Thank you also, by the way, Joshua, like color and grading and lighting stuff. put a lot of thought into that, so it means a lot when people like it. So,
Well, he's a photographer buddy of mine, so we we definitely notice that stuff.
No, that's great. So a lot of work goes into making a short like Elon. We could have made it quicker, but there's this old like graphic or saying, you can have something good, fast, or cheap. Choose two.
Right. Yep.
And I knew I needed it good and cheap, so I couldn't have it fast. So we started. I just mentioned earlier, I found the short story in December 2018, and Jay and I met up shortly after and talked about the story and adapting it, and decided to collaborate after that. And we were initially hoping to shoot it in 2019, in like February or March or something, because it's really actually not that hard to like just pull a production together, to like put the pieces into motion, get the cameras and lighting and all that kind of stuff. That's the easy part. But what really was difficult was just, it's the budget. Like we had a grand total of $6,000.
Wow.
Which is quite a small amount of money for a film like this. So
that film was made off of $6,000.
Yeah, out the door. That's how much we spent.
That is awesome.
So we
could totally make.
Right.
Exactly. We can be like, Will, here. What can you do with 7,000?
No, it was nothing. So what that pretty much what that meant was that we needed to really take our time to find the people who are passionate about the story and really wanted to make it. So we spent literally the entire year of 2019 trying to find two things: a production designer who could build our set, and a lead actress who could play Kaya. Those were two pretty tall orders, because the set needed to be something really specific. I couldn't go use a standing set or anything like that, because none of them really worked quite right. And so I approached a lot of production designers through 2019. I sent them the script, the pitch deck, a bunch of stuff, and just got told no over and over and over again. It's basically just couldn't be done for the budget.
Of course,
yeah,
right?
That's how it goes. So
you're like, we know. So can you do it or not?
Right. But like the thing is, like, what I would tell them is, like, I've been on the other side of this conversation before as a DP. Mm-hmm. I've been approached by people who want, the world for whatever budget, and it's not enough, and I just and I say no, because usually because I'm not crazy about the script. If I like a script, I'll make just about anything happen to do it,
Right.
But I'll tell them, like, hey, I've been on the other side of this conversation before. Like, this is, I know this is kind of unreasonable, but like, just read it, and if you want to do it, like, I would love to at least be able to talk about it and see if we can figure it out. Just figure it out. So that took all of 2019 until I found a production designer named Eric Palmer. And he also owned or had this, I think he was leasing it. He had a warehouse in downtown LA on Skid Row that he just kind of worked out of. He would build sets in there and then transport them to the studio or whatever. And for this film, he built the set for us, and then also rented us his warehouse for he just basically
bonus.
Shoot in the warehouse. Yeah. So that's what we did. And then aside from that, also we tried going for Kaya. That was difficult because that role is there's just a lot of emotional vulnerability to the role, mm-hmm. a lot of nuance. It's not easy to play. So we kind of we tried reaching out to some agencies for a little while, which we had no success. And so I was kind of just wondering, like, what are we going to do? It was late 2019. I'd been working on this thing for almost a year, or trying to make it happen for almost a year. And we kind of knew, like, I had all the crew in place. Like, we knew we could put the production together as soon as we got a set and an actress. We just needed those things to fall into place. And I was shooting a Christmas commercial last year, like November in 2019. And that's when Stephanie Barkley was the co-star on that. And it's a super goofy comedic spot. But she was just so grounded in everything she did, even in this comedy, this really weird, zany, goofy comedy. She just, like, had this believability to everything she did. and I just thought like some I just looked at her and I thought like I think she could do this, like
Right.
it's gonna work. So yeah, so like that was the main thing. Like pre-production took literally all of 2019, and we finally shot in January because Eric Palmer, the production designer, was done with one movie and was about to start on another one, but had a few weeks in between and he was free. So he called me up and I went over to his warehouse, and we read the script together, and then he started showing me all these like different set pieces, scraps or whatever he had around the warehouse, and then in the end he says like, okay, like, yeah, I can do this for this cost, and it'll be done by the end of the week, and then when I'm gone, you guys can shoot here in like 3 weeks or something. It was like 2. I was like, oh, okay, and so I called him, like, let's do this. And we just started spending the money and made it happen. And around that same time, I reached out to Steph and asked if she'd be interested in reading the script. She was like, yeah, okay, sure. So I sent her the script, and she responded the next day and loved the script and sent in a self-tape audition. And I watched that self-tape when I was on my way to scout the cave location at the end of the film. And I pulled off the freeway just before driving up to the caves, pulled up my phone, watched her audition, and it was so good. It moved me to tears, just her sitting in, the chair reading dialogue.
Reading this.
Yeah, it was
That's
it
cool.
was one of the more emotional scenes, but it's still like she did. I mean, it was clear to me like she's going to be great.
I was reading through the comments of it, and somebody had mentioned her and said that she hasn't been in anything really big for a while, and they were just blown away. And they said there's like she needs to be in more stuff because she did an awesome job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was her name? So I asked this because Sandy is asking if the name Hammer was influenced by Mike Hammer. I mean, I don't know who Mike Hammer is. Y'all can correct me on that, but
yeah.
so.
I don't no.
But was Kaya? I take notice. Her last name was Torres, and I immediately thought two things. My first thought was, being Mexican American, hearing the last name Torres, it makes me think, oh my gosh, did they really make the character have some sort of Latin connection? And then secondly, or was she more Klingon connected? Because
maybe both. I don't know.
Maybe both.
I'm gonna go with Klingon because no. What's funny is Jay and I never actually had that conversation of like, is that a B'Elanna Torres reference? But I am a huge Voyager fan, and
That's
so
awesome.
Really?
That's my oldest daughter's name. Her first name is B'Elanna. We named her B'Elanna. Yeah.
That is so cool.
We both are huge Voyager fans too.
Yeah.
Voyager is like it's the Star Trek show that doesn't get enough credit. Like,
Yeah,
I
it does.
agree. Every 10 years, I have to go and watch
yeah.
like the whole series again because I'm like, oh, this is such a great story.
Like, all the characters too. Like Janeway is like such an amazing captain. Like,
Yeah.
Agree. So let's take a little trip real quick on that.
Yeah. Okay.
You did know that the new animated Star Trek series that's coming out soon stars. I was going to say Catherine Mulgrew. That's not her first name. I can't remember her real first. Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's reprising her role as an animated Captain Janeway, helping out cadets.
That's
and then
be awesome.
secondly, there is. I usually don't watch shows until they're done, William. But I heard this 3rd or 4th season of Discovery has a Voyager reference. Either they actually have the ship, or they're interacting with a Voyager crew of some kind, or something. But these last 2 episodes or something have references to Voyager big time, not little ones.
What's your favorite Star Trek Voyager episode?
Oh, dude, I love the whole longest night or longest the dark, whenever they're having to go through the nothing, basically. The void. Yeah, that's like some of my favorite there.
I don't know, man. There's too many good ones. Like, I love the episodes where they're fighting the Year of Hell. Like the 2 episodes where they go through
Year of Hell was. Oh man!
Or how about the episode where they finally get close to home, finding that new technology, and then by the end of the episode, you find out that they're the doppelganger Voyager crew.
Oh yes, that one was
that was so sad.
Man. All right, so
Oh.
my two favorites. I'm a sucker for anything with the Doctor.
Oh,
Maybe my absolute favorite. I cry every time I watch it. Is I think it's called "Someone to Watch Over Me," and it's when the Doctor is teaching 7 of 9 about romance and how to date, and he designs the holodeck program. You guys remember that one?
Yeah,
He deletes it at the end.
Oh, it's so good. That and the one where Ensign Kim there's like the future version of himself, and he's like travels back in time to like save
Oh,
Voyager,
wow.
and he's like all like jaded and like
Battle hardened. I'll
oh,
say, I like
so
to say
cool.
battle hardened.
great. Man, anyway.
I love that they explored so much of the time traveling in
I
Voyager.
know.
I was always
Crazy
like,
with
oh, the
Sometimes
whole what was it? The Bureau of I don't even remember what they called it.
Oh yeah, whenever they affected the timeline because they had temporal shielding, and they were trying to rearrange everything, and the guy was like, "Y'all aren't supposed to be here. What are you doing? You just you just
so great.
caused a whole universe to disappear."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they went overboard a bit, but I think it was kind of cool still seeing it.
Right.
That's great. I love that
All right.
show.
Sorry,
Anyway,
I'm gonna come
fun
back
little
over here.
tangent.
Okay.
That's cool.
Go through the comments. Go through the comments.
Okay, all right. I have skipped a lot. So I did. There is one comment in particular that I was like, "Holy geez!" So give me a second. Agree with Joe. Are you going to do? Okay, so it starts here. Tim is asking, "Are you going to do more with this story? Maybe a prequel?" And then Jay just dropped, "We're working on a feature."
That's right.
Is this? So we're going to get a feature film of this story, even
Yes.
bigger.
I mean, that's what we're working on. The script's done. We're
Boom!
basically
Exclusive right here.
That's right. we're in active development, basically. You know, we're getting into
Oh man.
The future version it shares very much the same core that Alone has, but we did more than just kind of stretch out the story. We're going to be getting a little bit more into the relationship with her mom, a little bit more into
Oh yes.
you know, a little bit more in Hammer's Planet. There's a little bit more of an ending.
And her son. She has a son. We didn't find out till the end.
Oh no, she doesn't have a son. That's a picture of her and her mom.
Oh my
Is that what you're
god!
talking
Oh, she's the kid.
Yeah, she's the kid.
Oh, okay. I'm
Come
missing
on
that.
now.
Sorry.
Come
I'm
on now.
sorry. Real quick, I want to tell anyone who's watching. I guess we kind of failed to say spoilers for the whole thing. So maybe when the show's over, Joe, I need to go and put it at the very top of the
spoilers
or whatever. Spoiler alert for everything here. So just that I'm not trying to hold anything back. If you didn't go watch it, you need to go watch it. If you watch it again. So anyhow,
Right.
Yeah. Jacob was like singing praises here in the comments.
That's what Jacob does best. He's great at that.
William is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. That's what Jacob said.
I am.
Yeah?
I pretty much just start crying every time I hear
from
Lord of the Rings. I can't keep together.
Thought I'd pop in and support William's dulcet tones.
Okay.
Oh boy. Well, all right.
Let me see if I can find. So here's Tanner. This is a name I didn't see in here yet. Down in front, Jacob. I can't hear over you.
Oh man.
Let's see if I can find some other questions real quick because there are a lot of comments. So good, written by amazing.
Oh, and then Sandy. I love Sandy's comment.
Oh,
the connection in the alternate universe was better than her connection tonight.
So William, she messaged us outside, and she's like, I was like, connect with your phone, and she sent me a picture of her upload speed and download speed. She's literally at 1 megabyte per second. She's like,
there's no way.
Oh man!
Wow.
So yeah, okay, we're
here. Tim, I like the short, even though there were any lightsabers or Death Stars.
Well, it's the feature version. You never know.
Wait, Tim, wait. Okay.
Yeah, calm down, Tim.
Yeah.
What does this mean, Sandy? Hammer will definitely reply faster than Windstream.
Windstream is the name of the internet company out there. So she's talking about.
God, she should tag them in that.
Oh, that's yeah, I like what Jay said here. Hammer is the best interstellar pen pal ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, so Sandy's this part that gets on a lot of people commenting on the 6,000. Carrie
Mhm.
says CPJ, she's one of our regulars. She says, "Wow, 6,000! I've never seen 6,000 look so dang good." And that is the truth.
Well, thanks. I mean, I can talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've been in the film industry pretty much since 2007, I guess. So I spent a lot of time, working and building relationships and connections and stuff, and working on that, on my reputation. And in doing that, I've been able to, yeah, just make friends with a lot of manufacturers and whatnot, and kind of figure out how to really maximize budgets. So aside from the time thing I mentioned earlier, a lot of what I did on this film was, after having spent years providing value to some like different brands or whatever, by like doing little promos for them or whatever. Yeah, I was able to kind of like, I don't know, not cash in on that a little bit, but just
Make
partner with
make
some
connections.
brands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for this, I was able to, for the lighting, for all of that gear. Well, for the grip gear, I always go to the same guy, like my gaffer and key grip. Like we always go to the same people or the same guy for the grip band.
Mhm.
So when it came time to kind of just make my own film, that there's no client or anything like that, he's able to just kind of loan us the van for the weekend. We shot it in 3 days, and then after that, I was able to get in touch with Light Panels, the company, and we worked out kind of a deal to use their lights. They sent us like 7 Light Panels Geminis, which are really cool, and we worked out this like cool wireless DMX system that was super awesome. And then what else did we do? Oh yeah, like cameras. I shot on Ursa Mini Pro because one of our producers owned a couple of those, and I love that camera. So we
Nice.
just kind of get like a bunch of free gear here and there. Call up friends of mine who had like a wireless follow focus, ask if we could borrow it. And these are all people who I know and who I've worked with, and just kind of get it from here and there until we were able to kind of just build this pretty amazing world class, camera package and everything, with the lenses and everything all just kind of on loan.
Right.
For $0, and
Right.
that's pretty valuable.
I tell people, what's better than food, man? Free food.
Right.
But a lot of it is like figuring out how, like when you learn about lighting and photography, how to really build a scene. When you look at like giant budget films, they're not using, the gear that we don't have access to, or that I don't have access to.
Right.
They like, I have a friend who worked on Interstellar, and during one of the more emotional scenes, they were lighting Matthew McConaughey in this little room, and they just had one like Kino flow light, the little tube.
Yeah, little tube lights.
not fancy or anything like that, but it looked amazing, and Matthew's performance carried it, and that's really like that's what you start to learn. Like you don't need all of that money to kind of make something look good. It really comes down to the knowledge and how you gear.
And understanding your tools. It's like understanding your tools and realizing that it's more than just the name brand that makes the movie good, or the
show,
or the piece good.
It's the show, right? Like, I tell William, I produce 2 other shows, and I got 2 in the back burner that I'm coming with, hopefully. And I tell them all, I'm like, it's not so much to do as your mic, your headphones, and everything here. I'm like, if you don't have the topics, if you don't have the passion to deliver those topics, all that stuff isn't going to fix that. And so, you got to come with that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all that other stuff. You can get it later.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like the way you do things, like the way you light a scene, I found the way I light scenes now versus the way I would light a scene if I had hundreds of millions of dollars to do it, it really doesn't change. It's all the same. Like,
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sandy has a question here she wants to ask. She was saying, define feature film.
That's a full length film. So, anything an hour and a half, 2 hours, that's like a movie that you would watch on Netflix or Amazon or something like that.
So that also means then like short film, because I got to admit, I think I do watch a ton of short films.
Cool.
Is there a specific number that you go for when you want to be a short film then?
Sorry,
is there a specific amount of time that you aim for or try not to hit for being a short film?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Most people will tell you keep it 10 minutes or under, which is usually pretty great advice, because it's a lot easier to keep someone engaged for like 10 minutes or under, and it's a lot easier for a film festival to program your film if it's 10 minutes or under. So they'll have like a 1 hour block, and they can only fit so many films in there, and they want to put as many films into a block as possible. So they have 3 or 4, well, 4 like pretty decent 5-minute films versus just one, slightly better 20-minute film. They're gonna program the shorts.
Right.
And that's what I was telling Sandy and Joe and some other friends. I was just like, some of the stuff I like on Dust is because they just tell some great stories without as much dialogue as you would expect to see or hear or find. It's not like a Rankin episode, right? It's not like you're getting 3 1-hour episodes into one 60-minute, 45-minute window. You're getting like minimum dialogue, but the emotion, the connection is so much more, tethered in there. And so it's like, man. Let's see. Carrie's asking, do y'all need someone who helps pass out the sandwiches and donuts? I can taste test prior to the professionals taste.
Oh man,
appreciate that, Carrie. Then you got a fan here, Trey, saying your stuff is so sick, man.
Thanks, Trey.
He is just. I think he's geeking. He's fangirling out over here, which is fine. I'm right there with him. So, anyway, Trey is asking you though. Do you need any beatboxers?
Well, not right now, but I'll keep you in mind,
He's
Trey.
A good beatboxer.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I never want to fully turn down any offers. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, crap. I need a beatboxer.
He's been wanting to get into the voice acting business. So I think, William, if you ever need an amateur voice actor for any animated short or something, or a computer voice, maybe Trey's your guy. He might be willing to do that. So,
go to J. Scott Worthington's question.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that. Once we talk about and I haven't talked about that yet.
Help me, Joe, because I think I'm.
It says, did you talk about production / in-camera effects we did on set?
Also known as using your equipment effectively and creatively.
Yeah, there we go. Great. That ties into doing it on a budget. So I'm terrible with VFX. I really, I love sci-fi. I love VFX films. I feel like I kind of like have a good handle on how to make VFX films, which is weird because I'm really bad at VFX. But anyway, wow, totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, the projector. So what I really wanted to do was in the film, I wanted the black hole to be this constant presence. It's always in the background. You always kind of see the light from the black hole and the stars. We're not like always talking about it, and we're not always showing Kaya freaking out about it, but it's just kind of always there, like in the background.
Right.
And because of that, I knew I'd need a lot of shots looking outside of that window, that little window in the escape pod. And I've seen a lot of short films just die on the edit room floor because they overloaded themselves with the VFX shots. And I knew, if I want to always be looking out this window, I need to find a way to effectively do these shots looking out that window without getting stuck with 100 shots in posts, that need to have a green screen replacement.
Right.
So one of the first crew members we brought on board was the VFX artist, Rick Cortez. he was a good friend of one of our producers, Juliana Ulrich. So Rick and I started, like early on. This was like spring of 2019, talking about the black hole, the design, how we wanted it to look and feel, and all that kind of stuff. And he did a lot of concept sketches and art, and we kind of went back and forth until we settled on a look. And then he built this digital wireframe of the black hole and animated, light kind of getting pulled into that black hole, into that space. And he made this wireframe so that we could drop a camera into whatever spot of the black hole we wanted to and kind of look around and see, different parts of it. And so then he animated three different stages of nearness to the black hole. So one where we're kind of far away, it's mostly stars, and every now and then you'll see a streak of light kind of passing by the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then one where we're kind of a little bit closer, and the pillars of light are kind of higher. And then one where we're just like basically in it, and the view is just completely covered by this like fiery light that's, this deep red that's getting pulled in. And then on set, we had this 5-foot projector that Juliana and her husband own. Like they used it for their living room, movies. And another one of our producers, John, got a hold of a short throw 4K projector, and we projected these space effects onto this projector outside of the escape pod, out of the set window. And so that way,
while they're acting or filming or however we want to say that's being projected live.
It's live right outside of that window.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And so then as I'm shooting with my camera, where I can see it in my camera, the stars and everything, and it's like it's done. Like the VFX for that shot are done.
Nice.
And and so we did pretty much all of the VFX. Well, I don't say all, but all except for like 2 or 3 of the shots looking out of that window are live in camera. The ship breaking apart was too complicated, so we green screened that. But that's it. And the rest are just, the projector, and we captured it in camera because I knew it was going to be a real headache to have to composite and do all of that in post. Right. And on top of that, I was shooting on these anamorphic lenses that have this really interesting characteristic to them. If you pay attention to the background of the shots, they get this kind of really interesting painterly bokeh to them. The oval,
right,
almost diamond shape, and things kind of smear together in weird ways. I wanted to capture that with the stars and the star field outside of the window, and I just knew like animating that is going to be just such a really difficult to replicate. And so
whenever the light, it looks like it stretches sometimes, not like spaghetti, but they're like you said, oval.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I kept seeing that, and I was like, I wonder how he did that. I wonder how he thought to do that. It was so neat.
So that was all in camera, and I wanted to capture that characteristic because to me it kind of unifies, the foreground and Kaya and the set and space. It kind of also the camera captures all of it with the same color science now, so it all just kind of comes together and now it feels like it belongs in that same world. So cool. I was knocking out work in post-production and
your VFX.
selling the VFX a little bit better too. So that was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. See, now that's what $6,000 doesn't get you though, right there. Is that kind of thought process. So
yeah, I mean that's I done it for a feature film, for full-length film I shot 5 months prior to Alone, and we did shots looking outside of a car.
Was it Magician Home Alone? Not Magician Home Alone?
No, okay. But we did projectors, but for a car, and it worked out really well for the car. It looked really great, and I thought, well, this little window is going to be even easier than car street moving by. So I just kind of knew we can do this, and you can pull it off with. It's not hard to find a projector, Yeah, you can pull it off with a fairly inexpensive projector. In the end, we were fortunate and got a pretty nice projector. But
it's funny you say that because I'm borrowing my sister-in-law's projector. Oh, I'm not borrowing. She dropped it off here. Now I'm all like, I got a nice space right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
No
exactly. You
wonder.
can do it. You make a space movie. Go do it. But yeah, we did that, and then we set up the. I mentioned the light panels Geminis. We set up like an array, like a line of those, of 7 of them. At one point we had up to 11, all lined up side by side, and we programmed them to kind of set off in a line. This like they had this like fire effect on them that gives you
Oh,
this
okay.
like you can dial in the intensity of like the fire flicker and how saturated it is and all that kind of stuff. And we used this app to trigger them so that they would kind of move in this line, so that inside of the pod, it's really subtle, but if I think it's definitely there when you're watching the film. You can feel it. If you pay attention,
The
that
light changes.
there's light shifting in the
Yeah.
pod all the time.
Mhm.
You'll see it kind of move around, and that's to mimic that
The rotation.
swirls of light. Yeah, that rotation of light. So
Very cool.
that's pretty fun. And those are all things we did to kind of try to just
It's so
Just
gnarly.
pile on more
Gnarly.
believability. It was really
Absolutely
fun.
love it, William. It's so cool.
Yeah. I
Those are a
know.
lot of
I
fun.
mean, I was like, I wish we were in LA on a set, because like just being able to see some of that stuff, because we're like dumb to it. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
when Jacob and his brother, when the Hellmuth brothers were on, we were like, oh my gosh, floods of questions, because it was just like, this world is so interesting, because all of
It
us
is.
partake in it, especially this year more than ever, I would say, even. And so hearing about the work that guys like you and Jacob and Jay do to bring things like that to life for us is so like I mean, I'm over the moon about hearing a lot about this stuff, William. Like I am
Cool.
just like, this is amazing. So to see, not to just hear about it, right, but to see something like Alone, as amazing as it was, as cool as it was, and then to hear the backstory, to hear some of the, I mean, from the man who made it, it's just like, this is golden stuff. This is great, man. Thank you for giving us stuff like
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
so William, did you have to? I know that there's some science into it. Did you refer to somebody about some of the science, or did you kind of have all this like your own
right.
knowledge and say, hey, I know it doesn't work like this or whatever?
Right. I mean, a lot of that was Jay. He did research when he wrote the story, so a lot of it was kind of already there and figured out. At the same time, we also I believe in keeping in being as accurate as I can be,
Right.
But at the same time, it's a movie, and
Right.
science fiction is all it's all make believe. So to be totally honest,
Right.
like we just like if nothing was jumping out at me as like, oh, that's not real,
Right,
then I was cool with it.
Right. I was like, there's a guy that flies around with a hammer. Okay, so let's.
Let's calm down now.
And Jay just commented and said Google was
Yeah, that's love.
That is really cool.
I mean, but honestly, like that's the thing. Like this is a story that the story isn't about
Right.
the accuracy and all that kind of stuff. It's about that human connection and
Right.
it's a human story.
Man,
Alone and
yeah.
never forgotten. I was
Right.
like, oh man, those are I was like,
Yeah.
as soon as they said that, I was like, that's
yeah, those are
that's
the
like
I mean,
the
those are
duality
really-
of this.
That's exactly what really drew me to the story too. Is that those two fears are so, I think, universal and deep seated.
Yes.
And just to hear them stated in a way that I don't know, it they were stated
resonated.
really eloquently. Yeah.
yeah.
It was so-
and,
yeah.
and a really cool thing for me in the story that I really like is in the end, Hammer leaves Kaya, this message every day,
Man.
so that she wouldn't be so lonely, because that's her greatest fear,
Right.
is to be alone or
Yeah.
to die alone. And he's
That guy was
trying to kind of help allay those fears a little bit, even though he's lost all hope.
Right.
And then he asks her to not forget about him,
Mhm.
because that's his greatest fear. And so there's this like they're
Yeah.
they're
your
both
mind
trying-
gets tripped on it, man, because you're like,
yeah.
it so sucks for him. It's so sucks. He's like, don't go through the hole. Wait a minute, and here was the option. She does or doesn't go through the hole. She was eventually going to die or something, right?
Yeah.
And so then he was going to be alone and forgotten. So it's like one of them was going to not have their
Fear.
dream-
Their
yeah,
their biggest fear.
not met. One of them was gonna not have their fear met.
No, one of them was going to have their fear realized.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
one of them. Yeah, either way, no matter what, it was gonna
Yeah,
happen.
and that
Yep.
sucked. And so
Yeah.
it's her who did, yeah, and that's what I think made it. Like when we get to that point and you're like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, I think I know what happens, and then you're like, no, so you're like, no,
Right, exactly.
you know? So that goes back to a question that Sandy had over here. Does Kaya make it home?
No.
He's like, I can't give you that.
No, I mean, this is the
Head
movie.
spinning
That's
right
the
now.
story.
That's the
She's-
movie.
The way that I've seen, the way that I always pictured this is that wormhole is a one-way street. You know, she went through,
Mhm.
she's there, and now she's gonna build a life for herself in this new universe.
Yep.
Man.
Well, William, man, we could keep going on this all night, but we're already over our time. It's
Oh,
but
Sandy wanted to know real quick if the planets in the other world, were they flat?
I mean, just like the one. No, I'm not gonna get into that.
oh man, she said, "Oh hell no." That was about that's about Kaya making it home.
Oh, okay. I thought she was mad at him because
No, because it came in too fast. It came in too fast.
Oh, okay.
Oh man.
Words. That's what, Sandy can be our ambassador for that. I think when
Yeah.
they finally met, he was going to be 3. You know what? I admit, I thought he was going to be like her great grandson or some weird, business like that too.
Yeah, because she went into the universe and it was actually way in the past, and she had this whole family, and him
Right.
is her descendant.
See,
And
that's what that would have worked out too.
It's crazy.
What I did want to mention. Go ahead, talk Joe real quick because
No, I just think it's great. And so my last question for you: are there any Easter eggs that y'all? Because sometimes people put in Easter eggs to certain things.
Yeah,
that,
there are. I'm trying to remember what they are. Though.
and I would love to know if one that you can think
Jay's
of.
watching. Maybe Jay can help me out. I'm trying to remember what they are. I feel like there are. I mean, in the escape pod, the production designers had a lot of fun with that. I don't know if you can really see them in any of the shots, but there's like this little box that they made that had like euthanasia kit written on it. Like they got really morbid because it was like this is the escape pod. Like
Right,
there's like
right.
a no smoking sign in there. It's like
Oh yeah, I saw,
no
that was like
smoking
right up there.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of like there's a lot of really fun stuff like that, and then.
There's a Palm Pilot. There's a Palm Pilot.
Oh, was there a Palm Pilot?
That's what
a Palm Pilot.
he says. He says Palm
I don't
Pilot.
even know what he's talking about.
It has to be on the console, right? Where she's with where her hands go, or it has to be on his little thing.
That's funny.
I gotta Google Palm Pilot because I'm like, I know what this is, but why am I
That's a
blanking on what
BlackBerry.
it? No, that's right. No,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's not. I think it
original-
was. Where was the Palm Pilot? I don't remember. I didn't.
Hey, we're gonna have to go watch it now.
I'm gonna have to watch it again.
See, where's the Palm Pilot on there?
What was the? Yeah, I don't remember there were more, but.
Oh, look at that!
What they are.
They both got it. I think they're on some far wall. They're both talking about.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely like all sorts of just random little.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to ask now.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of leads into it's like a two-parter. So, real quick, do you see yourself looking for a Western script by any chance?
That sounds like a lead to something. No,
I'm just curious.
I mean,
Asking for a friend.
Okay, asking for a friend. Gotcha.
Not me.
Westerns
just
are
curious.
the Western is maybe my. Man, so I just love genres. Like I love sci-fi and fantasy, but Westerns have like this really big place in my heart. Like it could be my favorite genre, but then as soon as I say that, I'm like, but what about fantasy and sci-fi? But fantasy, sci-fi, and westerns. Those are like, yeah.
Nice.
Westerns to me are like they have a really special place in my heart because they're uniquely like something about the American myth and the lore is really fun and appealing to me. That's super cool.
That's cool.
Okay.
A Western script would be, Yeah,
I know a guy.
love
That's what I'm saying, William. I know a guy.
making a western is a dream of mine, to be honest.
Okay.
So
So my people will be in contact with your people. So.
I love that he said that sci-fi and fantasy were his top two, and it's like, can we keep going for like another 45 minutes so I can ask him a bunch of questions on the fantasy and sci-fi?
just read the Stormlight archive, and you'll pretty much know everything I love.
Right.
Oh, okay. Man,
Awesome.
okay. So, William, man, it's been more than a pleasure, to say the least, having you come on tonight. I'm sorry that Sandy couldn't, her internet freaking sucked.
Yeah.
But we're getting that a lot of people in Lubbock. That's where that's where they're two from. William, Joe, and Sandy are in Lubbock. I'm up here in
Texas, Lubbock, Texas,
and I'm up here in Chicago, or near Chicago, Illinois, Bloomington, Illinois. And so their internet's not doing so hot.
We'll just have to bring William back on whenever he does a full feature. That's it.
Do it. I'll come back. Super fun.
Look at Jay. Let's make it space.
I mean, that's basically what The Mandalorian is. So who knows?
Right? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Maybe we can weasel our way into that show somehow. So.
That'll be cool. That'd be cool.
Awesome. So, William, what we'd like to do before we let you go is we'd like to give our guests a time to kind of give a shout out to whatever it is they want. Your mom's favorite cooking, your favorite memory of your kid, your future projects, whatever it is. So we're going to give you full screen here, and feel free to just share whatever you want with everyone.
Awesome. All right. I mean, I guess since I'm here, I would just love to say, if you're out there, if you watched Alone, if you liked it, great. Thank you. Please share it on, any social media you can. Tell your friends to watch it. Being able to spread, really, like it sounds trite, but that view count on YouTube is very huge. It's so important to being able to get this thing to go further. So please just share it and spread the word. I also want to with Alone specifically, man, I've said it before to the crew that when I watch the credits for that film, it's one of my favorite parts of the film, because I see all these names scroll by, and every single name that goes by, I think of that crew member and have specific memories attached to that person and their contribution to the film, and how excellent their work was. This is such a culmination of so many different artists' work. And I just can't understate that enough. So, just major thank you to everyone who worked on the film. And I, to anyone watching this, I just want them to know just how collaborative this is, and how, I only play a part in making this film what it is. So if you're able to find the credits and track down who did what, look them all up, because they're all really awesome artists. Follow me. Oh, man, this is going to be the worst, but follow me on Instagram, I guess, so you can stay up to date with, any developments, for a feature film or whatever. I'm William Hellmuth _DP. Also Jay the writer, he's j.nla on Instagram. Julian I don't have the rest of their Instagram handles memorized. But if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to find all these other people that worked on the film too, because we work together a ton and I tag them all the time. So anyway, yeah, that's the gist of it right there. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I will make sure. Hey Joe, we're doing a show right now.
Oh, I was trying to find him.
Sorry, we're intruding on your time.
I was trying to find his Instagram.
Like and subscribe.
Everyone, we will make sure, and William will make sure to get William's Instagram and Jay's in the comments so that you can go check it out. You will find earlier in the comments, Jacob did mention a behind the scenes that William does. I don't know if that's the same video, but
there was a behind the scenes video of the making of Alone.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to check that out for sure.
It's a 30-minute one, I think, right? And so
no, it's about 5 minutes.
Oh no, the one I'm watching is a 30-minute one, I think. Maybe you're just talking
30 minutes?
about.
Is this something I haven't
on
seen?
your Instagram. It was an Instagram live video. See, look, there you are right there.
Instagram live. That's where I'm just talking. That one, yeah. That one's more like 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking,
This
and
one
then
is good though too. This one you
it's
hear
fun.
him talking about a lot of the about the film and perspective and thoughts and everything. Go listen to that. I'm in the middle of it. It's super awesome to hear it.
Cool,
Um, yeah. So, uh, William, we are going to say goodnight to you.
See, that's what I was doing. I was
What?
following him. So
Hey,
in your
tell me.
face.
The one time it actually.
Yeah.
So we are going to put you in the green room. Go hang out back there. Don't leave us just yet, and we'll be back here in a moment. Okay?
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
man.
All right.
That was awesome.
That is so cool.
And you know what's awesome? More awesome? You didn't talk that much.
I was going to say that was in control, actually.
Right? Yeah. I was like, Jamie, calm down. I can see it like boiling up, wanting to tell your story, and I'm like, this is not your interview. This is his interview.
I didn't want to tell my story. I just wanted to talk to him more. I wanted
Right.
to pick his brain more. There's so
Right.
much to ask, you know.
Right,
There's so
yeah.
much to ask. And I'd love if we, you know, when he was talking, I wonder if he'll help us get the sound guy and the score, the guy,
The music
on
dude.
the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them, because I'd love to hear. Man, from a just sound music kind of perspective. Man,
Yeah, I think we need to talk to J. Scott Worthington because he's a sci-fi guy all the way.
Yeah,
he even
wrote-
talked about Deep Space Nine in there. So
I saw that. So, you know what's cool is so he wrote the story that Alone is based on. That was in the book, the future.
yeah,
The short story book. Anyway,
right.
So he wrote that. So yeah, we got to have him come on too and tell us some, what inspired him, what included, how much of Deep Space Nine is in there, the wormhole, right? And everything else, and just here. So yeah, hopefully. But guys, everyone, go watch Alone. It's really, really a fantastic film.
Yeah, we'll put it on the page, and then we'll probably share it on our personal pages as well, so you guys can check it out. But it is really, really cool, and especially if you've watched it before the show, and now you've gotten his William's input on it, and then to watch it again, so you can have this. Make sure you're wearing the headphones and looking at the color and all that stuff. Yeah, definitely.
That was beautiful. Actually, it really was. All right. Anyway, so everyone, this is the time in our show where everyone grabs your phones. I know we're a little over, but I want you to grab your phones. I want you to swipe, get into your apps, open your app drawer, and pull open Venmo. Okay? I want you to pull open Venmo. I got to put it up on the screen. Joe, take them through the rest of the way real quick.
And then you are going to go down there where it says pay or request. You're going to pay at least $1 to the Pineapple Project because we have teamed up with Christmases for Kids, and we want to make sure that we can give them a big donation to make sure that these kids have a great Christmas, especially in 2020. So the kids are the ones that are in foster care or have been in the CPS world. So we want to make sure that they get taken care of.
Hit that pay button to send that money there. Remember, December 21st is the last day that we'll be taking. Here's the plan. The plan is to go on the December 21st to go buy the gifts and then drop them off at the at either the comic cleaners or at the
or the CPS office.
Thank you. Sorry, CPS. I can't remember what it's called down there in Texas anymore. At the CPS office. And remember, guys, 100% of our Gabby, if you're watching, can you send us what the the tally is for tonight from there? 100% of everything is going straight for the kids. Remember, birth to 12 years old, we're trying to get toys to them. So if you see those little canisters at the comic cleaners around town, put a toy from birth to 12 in there. You can put gift cards for 13 to 18-year-olds, since we want to send them to get whatever it is they want. Restaurants, stores around town, whatever. And be on the lookout for the Pineapple-thon coming up here soon. Details are about to come out really quick. And essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to have a time, 2-3 hours, whatever time we can fill with guests, old guests, to come back and invite their friends and family to come on and donate to the Venmo. And that way we can try to not line our pockets, but line the pockets of the Venmo account so we can go buy more toys and gift cards for the kids in the foster system. Okay?
Yep. Cool. Who do you have on tomorrow?
tomorrow. Oh, guys, we have a really cool topic coming up tomorrow. So his name is Ryan Curtis. Ryan Curtis.
Ryan Curtis.
He's coming on. But
Simmer
guys,
down now.
simmer down. Let me tell you. Okay, I'm about to hit y'all with this crazy topic that he's going to bring to us. But bear with us tomorrow. You are going to
Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Okay,
That's going to be awesome.
I almost did it.
Yeah, don't say anything.
It's going to be good.
You have to watch it because it's crazy. It's just crazy.
It is. It's just crazy enough to be like, I need to watch this. So come back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on this page, and you can watch us again. And hopefully we'll have Sandy back, and the internet problems in Lubbock will be all gone, right?
Well, she's not in Lubbock now. She's in Morton. So.
Oh, that's right. There you are, giving out all her dirty.
Oh, she's in Pflugerville.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know. That sounds gross. Everyone, how are we going to do this?
Oh, just go.
Okay. All right, everyone. We love you. Have a great night. And as usual,
remember to wash your hands and masks and butts for at least Oh, that's your line.
For at least 20 seconds.
You filthy animals.
Good
night, everyone.
It's the Social UnDistancing Show. How did you not know? How did you not know? It's the Social UnDistancing Show. How did you not know? How did you not know? It's the Social UnDistancing Show. How did you not know? How did you not know? It's the Social UnDistancing Show. How did you not know? How did you not know?